Step 1, get to know yourself. The more you know of yourself, the better you will feel about everything that you do. I think, for example, when I have done something and I'm like, oh my goodness, what in the world did I do in the past, right? And I have to look at myself and say, you know what, at that time, I did the best I could with the information, the experience, and just knowledge that I had at the time, and I'm okay with that. And I think that's a big thing, is knowing who you are, and you're going to change. So you kind of have to keep up to date with who you are. At that time, just know yourself. And you say, okay, that makes sense. And then move on. And I think getting to know yourself, your past and present, say, I was then and now I am, and what I can be. I think knowing how you develop, how you learn, how you are able to function, there's so much peace in that. The confidence in I can do this, the confidence in yourself saying, okay, we've got this. We've done this before, and now let's keep moving. That is amazing. Step 1 on some self-confidence. Get to know yourself. In addition to knowing yourself, I wanted to add, have compassion for yourself. Compassion for yourself and compassion for others. The more you know of yourself, the more you're able to see, like I was saying, in the past I did what I could with what information I had, and maybe that information changed. Maybe the experience changed. Maybe things have just changed. And am I going to condemn that person, or am I going to say, you know what, things have changed. It's okay. Having compassion, having empathy are amazing. Some of the best things that have ever happened in my life are difficult things that I had to work through and get to know myself and step up. And now they've given me the blessing of absolute empathy in certain cases. I'm not saying I'm perfect, right? But in these cases where I can help others. So it is a blessing. And I do think that on top of knowing yourself, loving and having compassion for yourself is very important. Step 2, love yourself, and also, I'll quickly relate a story. I worked in counseling, and I was with a fellow counselor, and we actually were contracting out for corrections at the time, and we would go to these meetings that were just really contentious, and sometimes they got personal, sometimes they didn't. It's a lot of impassioned people trying to make change and trying to do better. It's one of those. So we would go to these meetings and we'd carpool, and I would be like, oh my God, are you ready for today? And she'd say, yes. And I'd be like, what in the world? And I'm like, okay, how are you feeling? She said, you know what? I go in there every time and I think they love me. And I'm like, what? Because people don't always, And she'd say, they love me. And I was so perplexed. I was like, but maybe they don't. And then I looked at her and I thought, you know what? She is amazing, because it doesn't matter someone else's true, like their opinion of you. As long as you think, hey, you know what? They love me, and it will give you the confidence to speak up and step up and do your part. And I loved that about her, and I did love her. I did. She would get up, she would say her thing, confident, and just this aura of beauty and power, and say, I'm trying to do this and this and this and this, and some things that would be normally a little scary to say. She believed that they loved her and that they had her best interest at heart, and that truly empowered her. And I gotta say, I think it did a lot of change and a lot of good. So if you go into a room, have this love for yourself and just believe, you know what? They love me. Be okay. They love me. Step 3, self-talk. It is very important to look at the way we treat ourselves. I know in life, this has happened quite a few times. Say, if I saw someone talking to me the way that I sometimes talk to myself, I would be horrified. I'd be mortified. And I'd say, why would you say such horrible things to me? You know, why are you holding me to this horrendous standard that's almost, you know, like beyond what a human can do? Why? And then I have to stop and say, I'm doing that to myself. And I find that when I realize, hey, that was just a little intense, and had that come from anyone else, it would be too much to bear. I step back and I think, you know what? I like what I do. And I like to be who I am. I am a human being and I'm learning and growing every day. And instead of saying, you know, oh, the house is a mess and oh, blah, blah, blah. How about, you know, I had a great day yesterday. There wasn't enough time. And today it's going to be fun to clean and organize with my son and we can learn new things. They can be positive spins. And that's just something that we're doing instead of saying, oh, I don't want to do whatever project in school, right? You can say, you know, this is going to be very good for my education. I'm going to love the experience. And in the end, this is going to help me have great grades so I can do better. Things like that. Just kind of putting a switch on that, how you actually say things are really nice. And especially to yourself, you know, talking down to yourself, that doesn't make sense. You know, saying, oh, you're not good enough, you're not this and that. Stop, look at it and say, you know what, you are doing good enough. You are very persistent at things. And, you know, one day you made 5 more minutes of progress on what you did. And I think that's a really important thing. Talk positive to yourself. Treat yourself the way you would like others to treat you. The golden rule is not only for other people, it's for you too. Love yourself, treat yourself well, and talk nicely to yourself. It truly, truly matters. Okay, number 4, think of your future self. I love to do this. It really helps me in so many ways. When I am doing things, I love to think of my future self. So say today, you know, I have to go and work out in the garden. And I see it and I see a big mess out there and I think, oh my gosh, you know, that is going to be so rough to do. But then I think, you know what, there's a storm coming in and if I don't get this cleaned up today, then after the storm, everything's going to be soggy, wet, and horrible to deal with, and it's going to take me like 10 times longer to do anything, and I'm going to be a wretched mess and freezing cold when I have to actually deal with it. Let's take care of it now, you know? So that's one example of, you know, hardship in the future. Let's work on it now, what we can while we can, right? Another is, if I start a new hobby today, 2 weeks from now, I'll be 2 weeks into a new hobby. And that is going to be great because I will have had 2 weeks under my belt of learning, of mistakes, of all these things that I can kind of build on. Whereas if I take the time and say, you know what, I don't have the information or the know-how or whatever to do this, I'm going to wait. And then you wait and wait and wait. And then 2 weeks from now, that person is like still depressed saying, God, I wish I would have started my craft when I did. People use this a lot with weight loss, and it's actually pretty true. I think it's not just the weight loss, essentially. I think it's building muscle or feeling better. You know, I think if you start now, a year from now, you'll feel so much better. But if you wait until like the summer or whatever people do, and then you have these horrible, you know, realizations, hey, I should have been working out this entire time. And then you get depressed and slumpy and all of that, and it's really not fun. Just, you know, look at yourself a year from now and just say, my future self is going to be so excited that I did this. Huge difference in my life, future self. Number 5 is focus on solutions. So many times in life, there are people who bring up the problem, and that's, you know, we have to deal with it. You have to address it, right? I'm not ashamed to say there are plenty of times I've brought up a problem, but I have to say, one thing I do like about myself is I do say, you know, there is a problem. What can we do? Or I already have a solution in mind. I do try and generally have my own solution, but sometimes you just need some input from others. Look for solutions. Solutions in life are the best. I mean, what is it? Mother of invention, correct? So look for solutions. That is huge. Number 6, I found that volunteering, doing things for others, it really boosts how you feel. You go out, you're helping people, you're doing something, stepping out of your regular box. That's kind of 6 and 7, right? Step out of your box, do something different, get out there. When you volunteer, you are out of what you would normally do and helping someone else. My example on that, I stepped out of my box, signed up for volunteering at, it was like some race. I don't even actually know what it was. And what I did is I helped organize their backpacks, their waters, cleaned up things, just did stuff. But it was wonderful to be there and a part of it and watching people feel so happy in what they are doing, right? And then I thought, you know what, I could do something like this. It seems like it's an awesome thing. Soon after, my friend called and she said, hey, do you want to do a mud run? I'm like, sure. Mind you, I've never been a runner ever, not really athletic. So we signed up, we went super early in the morning, and we were running through mud, and I mean running, crawling, going over these, I don't know what in the world they were, they just like these like things you climb over and hop over and then going under stuff. It was insane, right? Something I'm not used to. And I had a blast. People were throwing mud at each other. It was totally nuts. I had a blast doing this. While I was doing this, the soles of my shoes actually got sucked off into the mud. It was crazy. So about a quarter of the way to the end, I was holding my shoes that had the soles sucked off of them and pretty much finishing this race, holding these shoes, my clothes soaked in mud, my socks flippity flopping off and everything. And mud is heavy. Hello, you know. So we get to the end of it and we just laugh and take a picture. I took the shoes home just so I could take pictures because seriously, and then I chucked them. But it was amazing. It was fun. And I stepped out and now I can say, hey, I ran a race, a mud race. It was awesome. It truly boosted my self-confidence because it's like an exciting story to share about the shoe soles getting sucked off. And I learned that from volunteering. So those are two things that really have helped me in life and they coincided. Wonderful. Okay, so there are two conflicting mindsets, and I love them both. So that's life. One of them is what is the worst thing that could happen? It's the Stoicism, right? Love Stoicism. It has gotten me through so many difficult decisions and times in my life. And it is what is the worst that could happen? And once you recognize that, all else is okay. You know, say you invest in something, right? And I'm just giving a very basic example. I'm not recommending it for anyone. What I did is I invested in a stock that was like iffy at best. And I thought, you know, what's the worst I could do? Lose X amount of money, learn a lesson, and go on? Or what's the best case scenario? Make tons of money off it and be excited. Well, I did the investment. I did okay, actually. But the good thing is I looked at what is the worst case scenario in the situation. That was one. There are plenty of other examples in life where I was in college and a friend asked me to fly out to San Francisco. And I was kind of in this thing where I was like overwhelmed with school, work, everything. I needed to get out. And they said, hey, come out here. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can. Called my sister and she said, you know, you'll always regret the things or the chances you didn't take. And I was like, oh, buddy, what is the worst that could happen? Well, maybe that regret was the worst. And so I packed up, went over there, had a fabulous time, came back, renewed, and had a good time. With that, that's the worst that can happen. Also, there is think of positive things. What is the best thing that can happen? Think positive, rose-colored glasses. I have been accused of being an optimist. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. And, if you look at it and say, this is going to be great, and I think it is, it's a mindset whether something's a huge problem versus an adventure. And I can't tell you how many adventures I have had in my life, and I'm very grateful for them. They're fantastic. So, mindset, positive, or even what is the worst that can happen. Those have been wonderful in my life. Another that goes along with Stoicism is the number 9 is embrace your failures. And I say failures, right? In quotes, because I don't know if there's really truly that many absolute failures. I don't feel it. Like, there are times in my life where something could have been called a failure, but in fact, it was a beautiful life lesson, and I'm okay with that. That's the thing is, it's your perspective of the situation. What did you learn from that? I have been blessed with so many so-called failures, but I'm able to empathize in a lot of situations. That's huge. And I don't know if you can get that if you haven't gone through some of these things. So embrace your failures, they're priceless. So, and I again say failures in quotes. I don't know. I wouldn't say everything is a failure. You make mistakes, you make failures, all of that, lessons learned. There are so many times, if you're trying to learn something new, what are people's failures? And I'll tell you, so many times, if people list their failures, that is a lesson for you. And it's huge. It's such a blessing. So embrace your own failures also. Laugh at yourself. Another one. Okay, so speaking of random failures, one time I was in a dressing room and I got stuck in the dress. Mind you, this has happened twice to me now. Twice. And it's not just the kind of stuck for a minute. It's like literally like half an hour stuck in the dress. And I was like fighting it for a while, like, and so I managed to kind of get it over my head. But like that's as far as it was. And then I was able to rummage through, find my phone, and call my sister and be like, I am stuck in the dressing room in my dress. Can you maybe consider coming over here if you're not too busy in the next 15 minutes? I've already been stuck for half an hour. And I said, and she's like, oh, okay. And it seemed a little difficult for her. I said, but hold on, let me try one more time. Okay. I tried one more time. I was able to like wedge myself out. In the meantime, the best thing in the world was taking a picture of myself and calling my sister and laughing and laughing. That was the first time. The second time that this happened, I called her and I said, you'll never guess. And she just said, I bet you're stuck in a dressing room. And I was like, oh my God. It was so bad, right? And we laugh about that because who does this? Probably a lot of people, quite frankly. I guess mine was the time frame. It was so long that I was stuck in there that I was like desperate to call someone. And I actually, got out somehow. But I still think it's hilarious. You gotta laugh at those things. And if you can look at them and think of humanity and the things that we all do, laugh. It's fantastic. Here we go. Gratitude. I think that's like one of my favorite things. There are a lot of times I don't find myself being super grateful. I don't. And then I'm like, what am I doing? And that's when I get down and that's when I'm feeling like, oh, what is this? And I have to think of something more. I look around my house and say, oh, this is a wreck and I've got to clean and all of that. And then I have to stop and say, I have a house and I have a really cool red couch that I love. And I can sit here knowing my husband is safe, my child is safe, and we have a roof over our heads and we have food on our table and things are good. It's the little things. And that's actually pretty huge. But if you stop and think of those things, do we ever appreciate our toes and the non-pain in them until we get a stub toe, right? just appreciate the things that you have while you have them. It is huge. And the gratitude, when you start thinking of all the wonderful things that you have, you're blessed beyond. I remember there was a time in my life I had 2 suitcases. That was every possession that I had. And I can't tell you how grateful I was. I was happy. It was simple. It was wonderful. And those are my things. And that's all that needed, that I needed. And gratitude, it will take you so far. It will truly change how you feel. You will just be so happy when you know that you have what you need, just internally, not all this extra, right? I think that you just kind of grow from within, you bloom, and that is how you're able to have this confidence, like, you know what, I have what I need. I am fine. I am stable. Let me go out and give a little extra because you have it inside. Gratitude is amazing. Learn something new. I am doing that now. I am learning how to do YouTube, and I just jumped in. Seriously jumped in. Like, I don't know. I wanted to do something. I needed a change. I needed something to invigorate my mind. I needed something. And I mean, it's not that I'm not getting my mind invigorated every day with a 2-year-old and trying to live a new lifestyle, right? I get that. But I needed something different that wasn't my norm. And learning something was amazing. With that, I was able to just kind of bounce into something. There are other things that you can do for a little confidence booster that are simple and easy to do. Clean something, organize something, make a little change a habit, or make a new goal and stick to it, and make it a light goal so you can stick with it, and then that'll kind of ease you into something else. I always think implementing one little new change one way or another will be something big later on. And that has been amazing to me. Learning something new is just, I think that people are satisfied in different ways. And I think for me, learning something new and having my mind invigorated is just the best. It is so exciting for me. Anyhow, finding little new steps, doing something new, cleaning your room differently, having a new goal, doing something else, just doing a little flip of the switch there, it'll make you feel so good. I think there was a thing about some army guy talking about, make your bed every day. You'll feel that satisfaction. It's a small task, and it just sets the mood for the rest of the day. Huge. Just one little tweak, just boop, do it. Another, have vanity. I have to say, I'm not really huge on the makeup bit and all of that, but I am trying. Today I did makeup as much as I can do while I have a 2-year-old. You know what I mean? And with that, it just feels nice to do something different for yourself and feel good about it. I took the selfies, and I've actually tried to practice those. Take selfies. Do things where you are okay with your physical attributes, and even use those where they change your face or whatever, make you look fancy. That's fun too. Just embrace it. Like, I mean, everyone's so concerned, and we all have vanity. Come on, you can't say you don't. We all have some sort of vanity, and it is fun to do. Dress up, feel good, dress, different for a day. Wear a dress, wear a suit, do whatever. But I can tell you that just truly boosts someone. And I'm saying physically dress up, or even do fun pictures where you use it's not Photoshop, whatever it is, where it changes your face thing. And suddenly they put makeup on you. I actually was putting a photo collage of my family together, and I was tired, I was still in bed, and I needed one more picture that faced this way, not this way. So what I did is I sat there in bed, and I took the app that puts makeup on you. I took that, and I took a picture of myself, and all of a sudden I had makeup on. I looked fancy. It looked like I was totally awake. I was really in bed. And I printed that picture out, black and white, and just put it up, and it looks fancy. Like I really got dressed for the day. It was great. And, I know the secret. It makes me happy. That's life. I have been having a blast just playing with my own face and these photo feature things and just feeling fancy about it. And I think there's something in that. And we can all say we don't do it and we're so humble and blah, 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 blah. We're not. I think a lot of people do it, and I think it's been fun for me, especially because half the days I don't wear makeup. I don't feel that great. I don't have the energy for it. So you know what? If I'm going to play on my phone and put it on, good for me. Um, Also, get dressed when you need to and feel good and confident about that. And I think the last thing that will be good for anyone, if all these things aren't working for you, smile and fake it till you make it. I know that that one is just, it's huge. I know there are times where I need that one. And I know, like, there was a time where I was just having such a rough time, and I was like, I gotta feel better. I gotta feel better. And I thought, channel that like Southern Belle stereotype. You know how they're just like, oh, that's so nice. Everything's so nice. And I tried it for a day. It was exhausting. I don't know how you can do it all day, every day, right? Seriously, it was exhausting. But it was kind of fun, and just kind of changing that, it's so nice, it's so nice. It kind of really made you think, it is so nice. And it was fun to do. I was faking it till I made it, and it was great. So these are 15 tips or ways that you can boost your self-confidence. To me, I've tried them all, and I will continue trying, and I'm open to positive suggestions and things that will make me feel better. I hope that I can always share with others. That's one thing that makes me feel really good, is helping others, and that's confidence for me. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. And please subscribe to my channel and like the video and leave some positive comments of things that people can do. Thank you.